Hey, 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 happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, which is brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. This is live stream 842. Also happens to be my mom's 80th birthday. Yowza. Yes. So very happy birthday to my mom. I already saw her yesterday. So she got her birthday wishes and birthday present. So I am just officially tossing a happy birthday out there into the interwebs. So got lots cooking tonight, so welcome aboard. Anyway, if you're not familiar with how this show works, let me point out, first of all, that super casual, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. We are not engaged in rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination, just hanging out, having a good time. And normally, we will take a first look at a game, or every once in a while, I'll do a live review, but usually it's first looks. And tonight is going to be no different because we are going to dive in and take a first look and page through the second edition of Lex Arcana. And this is the Core Rulebook, which is from Acheron Games. I believe that's how it's pronounced, or Acheron Games. Regardless, they are out of Italy and they do some phenomenal stuff. I have heard great things about Lex Arcana, and we're going to be jumping on in. We've got quite a few different books that were sent by Acheron Games that we're going to be taking a peek at in the very near future. I'll talk about those as well. Also should point out, if you're just tuning in for the first time and you're just hanging out because you want to see that first look at Lex Arcana, keep in mind, we tackle the latest in tabletop gaming news. So we do the news first, then we do our first look or review, and it'll probably be about 30 minutes or so. So if you're watching live, just kick back, relax, take it easy. Probably had a hard day. Pamper yourself. If you are watching 30 minutes or more after this stream ends, well, then you can actually jump past the news if you'd like. Although we've got some cool news tonight. We have cool news every night. But you will have timestamps. They are in the show notes. And actually, depending on the device you might happen to be watching this on, could be in the timeline of the video right there on the screen as well. Do you also want to mention, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you have to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So far in chat, we've got the Madman and Coco B. And it looks like John Vogel had popped in early before the stream started, asking if I was at the Bears game. I was not. I was not at Gillette Stadium for the Bears game. I did watch the Bears game. I did not have high hopes for the Bears, but I won money on them. So just because I didn't have high hopes didn't mean that I didn't take 8.5 points that they were getting. I was like, what? Come on, the Bears are bad, but Patriots aren't that good. All right. Anyway, so no, I was not there, John, just to answer your question. Belwinius from York is also in chat. Welcome. Coco B points out, happy birthday to my mom. So thank you very much. My birthday was yesterday, as many of you probably already know. Just hung out. Didn't really do much. Just swung on over to my mom's. And then after that, I went over to my brother's because it also happened to be my sister-in-law's birthday. I was born a year before her, so she has to respect her elders. You know how that works. So we went, we grabbed a quick bite and just had, I had a beer, a single solitary beer. I had enough cocktails the Friday before when I went out with my best friend, Elliot Miller, for my birthday. So I figured, I'll just have a beer. So Kevin R. Smith is with us. Ask a Browns fan how good the Patriots are. Just saying. Yeah, I feel bad for the Browns. Every year it's like, oh, they're going to be pretty good. And then it's like something goes wrong. Or just somebody's just not evaluating correctly. Don't know what to tell you. All right, so let's jump on into the news because making its way into stores in November is King of Monster Island. From Iello, I've got the dope. A new King of Game rises. King of Monster Island. We have detected irregular movement on the Monster Island. The volcano is erupting like never before. Monsters from all around the world are gathering on the island. What is happening? They don't even fight each other anymore because there's a greater menace lurking. Something big enough to threaten every monster and make them fight together against the same enemy. Was this in the script? Wait, is this a cooperative King of Game? Yes, it is Richard Garfield's new cooperative game. In King of Monster Island, players take on the role of giant monsters who must fight together to take down a titanic boss before the latter can complete the construction of an interdimensional portal. On each turn, players roll dice to slap, heal, gain energy to buy cards, move around the island, find support, or grab some glory. For its part, the boss is managed by the game. Depending on the result of the dice thrown in the volcano, it moves, activates its minions, and attacks nearby monsters. Its goal? Allow his minions to set up the pylons needed to build the portal. To win, players must defeat the boss. If the latter manages to activate his portal or to get rid of the monster of one of the players, the Earth will be definitely lost. King of Monster Island is for 1 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. Plays in around 50 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $69.99 when it hits stores in November. Sweet. I know folks out there have been asking for a cooperative King of Tokyo or King of New York game, and now they're getting it. It is King of Monster Island, and it's got, I guess, a volcano, the dice tower as well. So it's got some visual pop. I can give it that much. Funny enough, I have King of New York, and I also have King of Tokyo Dark Edition. I have never played either one. I know. It's amazing. I have actually brought, especially King of New York, I have brought that with me on a few occasions to get together with the gang to play stuff. and we've just never gotten around to it. I know when Elliot was part of the gaming gang, I'm almost positive he did a review of King of Tokyo. But yeah, it's strangely enough, I have just never played it. Madman says, yeah, ask the Lions about how good the Patriots are. Yeah, I thought the Lions were showing up this year. I guess I was wrong on that too. Also arriving on Kickstarter in November, not in stores, is Shake That City from AEG. And here's the scoop. Welcome, city planners. Design the best city block using patterns from the new and exciting Cube Shaker. You'll place a mix of tiles to help grow the thriving city. The best design wins the game. Shake That City is a family puzzly tile laying game for 1 to 5 players that plays in under an hour. The game is played over a series of rounds. The active player shakes the cube shaker and presses its slider to reveal a 3x3 pattern based on what they need to place on their corresponding building tiles of a single color of their choice on the board. The building tiles correspond to roads, factories, shops, parks, and of course, homes. The other players then pick any building color other than the one the active player picked, then place matching colored tiles in the matching pattern on their board. Players earn points for tile placement combinations and for the completed bonus point tiles around the edge of their board. Roads want to connect to an edge of the board. Factories want to be next to other factories and roads. Homes want to be placed in clusters that are as small as possible, the smallest being a single tile, so long as they're not next to a factory. Parks want to be next to homes and factories. Shops score increasingly more the closer they are placed to the city center, but if they're not placed on an edge, they need to be adjacent to a road connected to the board's edge in order to score. Without road access, you'll have no products to sell. At game's end, players earn points for tile placement combinations and for the completed bonus point tiles around the edge of their board. Shake That City will be for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, play in about 20 to 40 minutes. And this Kickstarter is going to launch on November 29th. Yes. And on November 1st, which is a week from today, we're actually going to take a look at Shake That City. That's right. I'm going to share a preview of Shake That City. We're going to dive on in. We're going to take a first look as I unbox it. And I am actually doing a Kickstarter preview for AEG for Shake That City. Yes, I know I really do not do Kickstarter previews anymore, but I go way back with AEG. And you may not be able to, really tell. This is actually a shrink-wrapped copy of the game. The game is done. Game is complete. So this isn't one of these Kickstarters where it's like, well, it's kind of sort of the game. So there is that. So stay tuned. Next week, we will be taking a first look at Shake That City. Madman says they used to play King of Tokyo during lunch when he worked in an office a few years back. That is, from what I have heard, a good lunchtime break game. I have been informed of that in the past. All right, let's move on to some role-playing game news because the latest chapter in the Bloodlords Pathfinder Adventure Path arrives this week. Here's the latest on The Ghoul's Hunger. The bloody burden of aristocracy. Formally inducted to the Bloodlords as recognition for the past victories, the player characters soon find that the dangers hidden in this prestigious role are as great as the rewards. The new aristocrats of Geb must fend off intrigues of their power-hungry peers, escort the priest king of a subterranean ghoul nation, and quell a cannibalistic cult. I thought that's what ghouls are, though. Aren't ghouls cannibals? All while investigating the plot to poison living residents across Geb, not Gelb, and beyond. The mysterious mastermind behind this plot stalks the halls of power where the characters now tread, and he knows that his enemies are closing in. Well, we know the mastermind is a male. There goes that spoiler. The Ghoul's Hunger is a Pathfinder adventure for 4 less than good-hearted 11th level characters. This adventure continues the Bloodlords Adventure Path, a 6-part monthly campaign in which the characters rise from skilled troubleshooters to join the Bloodlords who rule a land of the dead. The adventure also details the worship of Cabriri, the demon lord of ghouls, and presents numerous downtime activities for the newest Bloodlords to expand their authority. New items, feats, monsters, and more abound when the ghouls hunger. Each monthly full-color softcover Pathfinder Adventure Path volume contains an in-depth adventure scenario, stats for several new monsters, and support articles meant to give game masters additional material to expand their campaign. Pathfinder Adventure Path volumes use the open game license and work with both the Pathfinder role-playing game and the world's oldest fantasy RPG. The 100-page softcover of The Ghoul's Hunger will carry an MSRP of $26.99, or you'll be able to grab the PDF for $18.99 when it arrives tomorrow. And if you follow along, you probably realize that the cost of the adventure paths has increased by $2 for the physical book and $1 for the PDF. Paizo had announced that previously, that we were going to see the pricing increase. So there you have, that is the 4th chapter of the Bloodlords Adventure Path. So the Madman says, I want my $2. Hey, Lane, I know I'm just a cartoon character, but Yep. That's a reference. That's a blast out of the past. It's pretty funny because my friends and I use that every once in a while out of nowhere. I want my $2. That is a bizarre movie. It really, really is. Better Off Dead. Yes. With John Cusack. And strangely enough, the first half of the movie is super bizarre. And then the second half of the movie is kind of a very traditional, like early 90s teen comedy. It's super odd. It's as if it had 2 filmmakers. Like, hey, I'll do the beginning, you do the end. William Hell His Eyes is with us, as is Christopher Rush in chat with us as well. So welcome aboard. There was a new bundle of holding which just launched yesterday, and it features the Weird Frontiers role-playing game from Stiff Whiskers Press. Here's the deets on the deal. Howdy, Trailhand. This all-new Weird Frontiers bundle presents, you guessed it, Weird Frontiers from Stiff Whiskers Press, a standalone Lovecraftian horror Western tabletop role-playing game based on the Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG from Goodman Games. In an alternate 1865, cultists of Nyarlathotep, that's how I always pronounce their name, brought on the 7 days of night to awaken long-dormant elder gods. Now heroes with extraordinary abilities, or extraordinary abilities, stand against an ever-growing evil in a wounded country still recovering from the bloodiest war in American history. You can turn tail or take the fight to the night, and he ain't about to be called Yeller or Old Yeller. Saddle your horses and clean those irons. skin those smoke wagons. Because there's something slithering across the dark frontier, and it's dead set on making victuals out of you and your ragtag posse. And your little dog Toto, too. For just $9.95, you get all 3 titles in the starter collection, retail value of $45, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete 908-page Weird Frontiers RPG Core Rulebook, which we have a review of over at thegaminggang.com. Plus, the judge's screen and the trail map. If you pay more than the threshold price of $20.61, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 5 complete adventures worth an additional $50, including Never Swallow the Worm, Not So Fast, Billy Ray, Dig 3 Graves, The Malevolent 7, and Nest of Snakes. These savings run through November 14th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees for this offer will be donated to the Paved Paws Animal League. That is something new. That is a new charity I am not familiar with over at Bundle of Holding. Very nice. Very cool. So, if I remember correctly, Samantha, why are we getting a Free League publishing thing up here? Boy, I tell you. That is super bizarre. Anyway, and it's very very weird that it was popping up. Tessie Trekkie is popping in, pointing out Lex Arcana is awesome. Yes, and we're going to be taking a peek at it. All right, so save big money on Weird Frontiers from Stiff Whiskers Press. And I remember Samantha liked it. It is a long book, 900 pages, but yowza. All right. Now available in print and PDF from the Gauntlet is Hearts of Wulan. Or I'm sorry, it's Hearts of, I'm trying to remember how I've heard the creator pronounce it. I think maybe it is Hearts of Wulan. Here's what I know, besides not really knowing how to pronounce it. Hearts of Wulan is a game of wuxia melodrama powered by the apocalypse. Players take the role of skilled martial artists in a world of rival clans, conspiracies, and obligations. The game emulates films like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Chinese wuxia TV series. I don't know. Wuxia. I looked it up and I got like 3 different pronunciations. And I'm like, great. Thanks. Anyway, TV series like The Smiling Proud Wanderer and Fox Volant of the Snowy Mountain, and Chinese martial arts novels from the second half of the 20th century. In these tales, romance is as dangerous as a blade. Everyone has ties to factions, loves they can't quite express, and secrets which will shake them to their core. As in the source material, stories on Hearts in Wulan are driven by the characters' duties, romantic desires, and entanglements with other characters. You get everything you need to play the game in 3 different styles: core, courtly, and fantastic. It's fantastic, man. The core game is, as described above, a game of melodrama featuring wandering Wulan warriors. The courtly style of play sets the game in a world of politics and factional scheming. The fantastic game adds strong elements of the supernatural to the story. Each style of play has its own playbooks and moves. It's like having 3 games in one. The 230-page hardcover is now available, carries an MSRP of $35, or you can grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $15. I know I had shared a news piece about this before. I'm pretty sure this is a Powered by the Apocalypse game, or it's got tweaks to the Apocalypse engine. One of the clues is when they talk about playbooks and moves. That's usually your giveaway. MC is in chat with us saying Jeff and pronouncing stuff is oil and water. Yeah, you know what's funny? Because, oh my gosh, there is a big ass spider down here in the kingdom of spiders. And it is actually, if it keeps dropping down, it's going to pass the table, but it should go right past the camera lens. So you might, here it comes. You know what? I'm going to switch. So let's see if you see it going past. All right. So, of course, because it's focused on me, you may have seen it. It looked almost like an orb, right? Like those ghost orbs. Just kind of going right on past, like so. It is a, yes. So Testing Dragon says, saw the smudge. So William asked, was it on the duct tape ceiling? In the duct tape studios? I really shouldn't call it the duct tape studios because there is no duct tape anymore. But when I first started, a bunch of stuff was kind of just jury rigged. And a lot of it was held together by that magic device, duct tape. All right. Anyway, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG, don't forget, stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, then you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And there are folks out there who use the banner ads and or stop by paypal.me. And thank you very much. Also, I am in the midst of the 50/50 game sale to benefit Extra Life, which is, some people refer to it as Extra Life for Kids because it benefits the network of children's hospitals, the Miracle Network, I should say, of children's hospitals. So that is currently going on. You can always find a link in the show notes. And thank you to everyone who has taken part up to this point. We have actually gotten past the amount that I raised last year with the auction. But there's still about 190 games that are available. And the prices are rock bottom. So definitely check that out. All right, so that is it for the news tonight. So William Hellas actually took part and received his goodies already. Somebody else had actually posted on Twitter. I want to say, I think it was Gerard, who I don't think normally watches the show live. I think they tend to watch after the fact, but they received their package. Everything that I have put together and sold so far is all out. In fact, I dropped off Colin's package today, which is going up to Canada. So everything is out, but I'm running the sale until November 2nd. There's still plenty of cool stuff. In fact, I got to be honest, I'm kind of surprised nobody's jumped on some of the war games that are like 20% of like MSRP. I don't know. It didn't know what to tell you. Jesus Nava is with us. Hello. Welcome aboard. So Coco B is like, woot woot. See, it's funny because I know who some of you are with your with your nicknames out there. I know who you really are. Anyway, so we are going to jump into Lex Arcana 2nd edition in just a few moments. First, I wanted to mention, for some strange reason, recently, I'm getting some like super oddball commenters. And I almost have the impression that some of them are like the same person, because it's always the same sort of smart ass shit that I just delete anyway. It's like, I'm not responding to this. But I'll go and look to see, you know, what their YouTube account is. And it's always 1 subscriber, maybe 2, but almost always 1 subscriber, no content. So I had somebody, whoops, as I bumped the mic, I had someone who, they left a comment talking about how I'm a great introduction to their kids to RPGs. And the way they worded it, it felt like it was kind of a backhanded insult. Like I'm aimed at children or something, or you'd have to be a child, whatever. And I was like, but they didn't say that, but it was sort of like, and then on another video, they had commented that I should have a fan club and have puppets on the show. So I didn't delete these. I just was like, this is weird. This person is weird. And then the same person commented on a video saying that my, in fact, they were insulting those of you who watch all the time or hang out and chat. Said something along the lines of, my videos will never receive more than 250 views because my fan base is incestuous. And I was like, what kind of idiot are you? It's like, get out of here. So I was like, you know what? The hell with this. So I deleted all of their comments because, like I said, I kind of thought the first 2 were meant to be insulting, but you never know. I mean, some people can be sarcastic online and you don't know. Or English may not be their first language, and sometimes comments read strangely. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I don't need this. So I do want to point out, if you happen to be watching and you just feel a need to be an asshole, I don't really care, because I just delete your comments and block you. So I don't give a shit. You got to be fairly new to hanging out and checking out some of these videos if you really think I'm like going to lose sleep over comments that people leave. It's like, I am now 55 years old. You think I care? So Jesus says, don't feed the trolls. Don't even talk about them. I just wanted to mention, because I thought it was so weird that they said that the fan base was incestuous. Like, if they hadn't said that, I would not have mentioned anything. But I was just like, where did that come from? Anyway, so yeah, Christopher Rush points out, welcome, Christopher, says the fan base are Targaryens. Yep, there you go. And we all own dragons. So watch out. Better watch out. All right, so we're going to jump into Lex Arcana in just a moment. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
You've seen the show. It was quite a treat. But now you'd like something to eat, so right this way to the concession stand serving Castleberry's, the best in the land. Yes, sir. Castleberry's is real Southern barbecue. Choice cuts of meat slowly cooked over open pits of smoldering oak coals for honest-to-goodness barbecue flavor. You'll also find hot coffee, cold soft drinks, and delicious ice cream in our snack bar to go with your Castleberry sandwich. Just look at that generous helping of rich, juicy barbecue. Yum, yum. For a real taste thrill, Castleberry's barbecue will fill the...
This volunteer doesn't drink Wilkins instant coffee.
I hope you know what you're doing.
Oh, I do.
Like you crave that corn when it's freshly bobbed. You gotta beat it to the box with the butter on the top. Get with it, man. Start strolling down to the sweets that you rollin', the best in town. Our candy's real gone, if I'm understood. To all you squares, that means the confection is positively delicious. Cork that stuff. Give me 5. Let me send you into this nutty jive. Go, man, go. It ain't very far. Shake it on down to this cool snack bar. Come on, Jill. Give us a treat. A friendly pepper-upper with a tasty beat.
Drink Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, 'cause it never lets you down.
Frosty, man, frosty.
And now, on with the show.
Hey, yes. Wonkins, no. I happen to love that one Wilkins coffee ad because just for some strange reason, Wilkins with that saw looks like they're insane going to town and sawing him in half. So, alrighty then. So tonight, we are going to dive in and take a first look at the core rulebook for the second edition of Lex Arcana from Acheron Books or Acheron Games. I hear two different things. I think it's Acheron Games, but some websites refer to them as Acheron Books. Regardless, it is written by Francesco Nepatello and Marco Maggi, the fellows who have also written both editions of the One Ring role-playing game. This 304-page hardcover is available for an MSRP of $55, or you can grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG. No, I can't even say that. DriveThruRPG for $24.99, as there's a discussion of Dr. Pepper. What does it taste like? I'll tell you one thing. For one, I'm not a huge Dr. Pepper fan, but Dr. Pepper, in my opinion, years ago, when I was like a teenager, it seemed like it was a much more spicy tasting soda as opposed to how it tastes now. Yeah, it's not bad. MC's like, it's delicious. It's a big deal in Texas. I know that. It's like Texans' favorite soft drink. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the core rulebook for the second edition of Lex Arcana. So before we dive on in, a couple of things. The fine folks over at Acheron Games has provided me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. It's important that you know that. It really is. Also, I'm going to be staying picture in picture up here as always. So that means I'll be cutting off a little bit of the upper left portion of the book as we take a peek through. We are not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what's in the core rulebook. As I had mentioned before, I have heard very good things about this. I do not know what system it uses, so we will kind of try to discover some of the mechanics as we take a peek through. Lex Arcana is the alternate history role-playing game set in a Roman Empire which did not fall. The Emperor needs you. Join the cohorts Auxilia Arcana. Enter the world of Lex Arcana and dive into the mysteries and dangers of ancient Rome. You and the other custodes will travel, or custodes, not sure, because it is Italian, right? Or I should say Latin. You will travel to the four corners of the land, investigate terrifying threats, recover lost relics, unearth forgotten secrets, and fight legendary supernatural creatures. The rulebook includes full rules to play Lex Arcana, a full world to play in, 12 pre-generated custodes. I'm going to say custodes. Sounds better, and, I mispronounce everything anyway. Advice for the demiurge, which is our DM, the ancient world bestiary, and 2 extensive introductory adventures, the long winter nights and the mothers of Cenobum. From misty Britannia to the immense rivers of Babylonia, from the Egyptian deserts to the beautiful beaches of Italia, the adventures await the custodes are as numerous as the empire the cohorts Arcana must defend is large, for the glory of Rome and the empire without end. Badman says first time they had Dr. Pepper was at a Taco Bell to watch the high school basketball finals in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Saw Magic Johnson play his last high school game. Holy cow. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Melwinius says that they actually do have Dr. Pepper where he's at, which is across the pond, but never bothered with it because they have Pepsi and Coke. Well, so Kevin says, I know Spanish doesn't have any silent E's, but I don't know if that's inherited from Latin. I don't know. So MC says proper pronunciation is custodes. I think that's what they're indicating there. All right, let's jump on in. So we have, it looks like this is a map of the known world. So Christopher Rush says they need a tab. Oh, that was awful. That was awful. Bad boy. RC Cola is not bad. I've shared some RC Cola ads during our intermission breaks. So we got a table of contents. All right, so I do want to mention that the production quality looks top-notch here. Paper has a nice weight to it. As you can tell, it does have a little bit of a gloss finish. I know some people really dislike that. It doesn't really bother me all that much. To be very honest, what I do a lot of times is I actually also receive PDFs. So on occasion, I will do PDF giveaways. And I just actually do my reading for the review on, my tablet or laptop, what have you. MC says they hate gloss in all caps. So that means they really hate it because it looks cheap. I'll tell you honestly, where it really looks cheap, and I got nothing against WotC. They're good to me. They send me little gifts and things like that. I get all the releases for D&D, but their glossy paper is cheap. And it really does feel cheap. So we've got our introduction. So let's see. I'm going to read a little bit of this. Lex Arcana is a historical fantasy role-playing game. It is. That's what? MC says, I fully agree. I hate it. Set in an alternate, it looks like, yep. Set in an alternative 5th century CE where magic exists. In this divergent timeline, the Roman Empire managed to steer away from the course of events which led to its historical collapse, thanks to the mastery of the arts of divination. Okay. By being able to see beyond the barriers of time, the Roman emperors have kept their enemies at bay for centuries, both outside the borders of the empire and within. All right, so our setting is the 5th century. Wow. Okay, so we're going to get into the player characters here. So our attributes, we have virtues of the body, virtues of the mind, and virtues of the soul. So kind of funny because it looks like we also get the attributes in Latin. So we got coordination, vigor, authority, which is force of personality. So charisma, intellect, reason. I would think that's their stand-in for wisdom, and sensibility measures the awareness of a character, their capability for empathy, and their sensitivity towards magic and the unseen. Then we have parite. So that's the proficiency of a character in a certain field. We have specialties as well. So we have fighters, explorers, augurs, scholars, and diplomats. So that looks like those are the 5 core, I guess we could say classes. So we have combat, physical. Okay, so it's talking about different specialties that we've got. So combat, we could have axes and maces, bows, castra, daggers, missiles, spears, swords, tactics, and threaten. But we also have brawling, carousing, climbing, jumping, larceny, marching, running, stealth, and swimming. So that's physical. We have magic, clairvoyance, favor of the gods, forbidden cults. Hello, Nyarlathotep. Imperial cults, interpretation of dreams, interpretation of omens, precognition, retrocognition, and superstitions. Then we have nature, beast lore, exploration, foraging, herb lore, hunting, navigation, writing, sailing, and weather. We have knowledge, architecture, crafts, machinery, I guess, decipher, geography, history, investigation, medicine, and philosophy. And then we have social, command, deceit, decorum, negotiation, oratory, performance, politics, seduction, and streetwise. So we've got hit points and piatas, which I'm taking a guess is almost like mana. So William says, superstition, no walking under siege ladders. Yeah, so. Russell Higgins is with us in chat. Says, put him down for 1 larceny and 1 carousing. There you go. MC's asking, is this a roll over or under system? Is it D20? I don't know. We're going to find out. So we are taking a look at, oh, that is some cool artwork. I like that. Me likey on that. We're going to find out how this works mechanically. So we have our sample character, Gaius Valerius. So there are a dozen pre-generated characters as well. So, wow, that was pretty short chapter about rolling up characters. Okay, so let's take a look here. How to play. Lex Arcana employs a classic polyhedral dice used in many role-playing games. Specifically, players need at least a set that includes dice with 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 20 faces. These dice can be found in most specialized game stores. Rules also reference D3s and D5s. Those are easy enough. Like, yeah, don't start busting out the Zaki dice. Oh yeah, you gotta get your D24 out. So MC says, I could see this going comedy real easy. Yeah, it's a little Life of Brian reference there too. So Mr. Underhill 40 is with us in chat. Been a while since we've seen Mr. Underhill 40. Says, my first character shall be named Brutus Gluteus Maximus. So William says, the Unix class. So it says, during the game, these scores are translated into a corresponding die type or combination of dice. Those are the attribute scores. Oh, no. Yeah, maybe it is. So when players roll, they take dice corresponding to the characteristic most appropriate to the task to be resolved. If they must roll more than one die, the result of the roll is equal to the sum of all rolled dice. The higher the result, the better. All right, so Gaius, the example character, their nature score of 15 lets them roll, among other combinations, a D10 and a D5. Okay. So, of course, they'll roll a D10 and a D5, essentially 2 D10s, dividing one by 2. And they'll resolve the outcome of all actions concerning nature and surviving in the wilderness. Then there's the fate roll. It says, the favor of the gods enjoyed by all custodes of the cohorts auxilia arcana grants them a special benefit. Whenever a player rolls one or more dice and the roll scores the highest possible score on all dice, for example, rolling an 8 on a D8 or a 15 rolling D10 plus D5, player then rolls the same die or dice again, adding the second roll. So an exploding die mechanic there. So these apply to all die rolls, including damage and protection. So we have dice points. So it says the scores of attributes and equipment of player characters are not translated into a single die type or dice combination. Instead, they represent the specified number as dice points. Example, a D-Magia score of 8 does not correspond only to a D8, but to 8 dice points. And the Kapor rating of 12 does not correspond just to 2D6, but rather to 12 dice points. More specifically, a dice points value indicates every possible combination of 1, 2, or 3 dice. For instance, 6 dice points correspond to a D6, since the highest possible score rolling a D6 is 6. But 6 dice points also correspond to 2D3, because the highest possible score rolling those is still 6. Another example, 12 dice points correspond to a D12, but also to a D8 and D plus D4, 2D6 or 3D4, because each of these combinations' highest possible score is 12. I don't know, right? I was just about to say, this is going to require quite a bit more investigation, because it is clear as mud to me. And Russell Higgins points out, this explanation is making my head explode, not the dice. So Kevin says, okay, they made this much more complicated. So Russell says, I'm going to roll a D12 and a D3 because the D12 doesn't get used enough. So MC says, I just want to make a strength check to open the door, man. All right. So we've got descriptions of the specialties. So like larceny, exploration, foraging, command. A cool art piece there. Okay, so we're going to have to figure out that dice pool thing for the review. But we do see that we've got difficulty levels. So easy is a 3, normal is 6, challenging 9, hard is 12, very hard 15, extreme is 18. So I get it. So you're essentially rolling your dice and you are looking to meet or exceed your difficulty threshold, challenge number, whatever you want to consider it. So that's what we're looking at there. It's the actual rolling of the dice and these dice pools that kind of throw me off. MC points out, people wonder why 5e is so successful. It's easy. Easy doesn't necessarily mean good. I'm joking. 5e is fine. I say it all the time because I cover so many role-playing games. I do not have a dog in the fight. So I don't get into people, oh, Pathfinder 2e is better than 5e. Oh, 5e is better than Call of Cthulhu. Oh, RuneQuest is better than Pathfinder. I don't get into any of that. I just tell you what I think of each individual game and take it from there. So we have degrees of success. So the higher that you roll over, the more successful you're going to be. So I get that. Russell says the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch has simpler instructions. Okay, so here is our character creation. I'm delving a little too deeply into some of that, but I did want to find out what are the mechanics, what are the core mechanics of the game. And it appears that once we would get to the resolution aspect of it, where it's basically you roll over, then we're pretty set. So there is our character sheet. So here are some examples of various different weapons. Strangely enough, there's no indication of what is what. It's like, So we've got all of this as far as this is all still character creation. So we have place of birth. And it kind of gives us some tables if you want some like random like family backgrounds. So here's combat. Okay, here we go. Tessie Trekkie says dice system works well in play as most players tend to assign a set of dice combo they like and they roll with that. Okay. So as you had a 12, you could decide, well, I can roll a D12, 2D6s, or 3D4s. So that's what I was kind of curious about. How do you decide what die pool you would utilize? But I guess if it's up to the player, that's kind of interesting. So if I take a stab, no pun intended, with the combat, I would take a guess, and I'm sure Tessie Trekkie can chime in. When you're rolling over your DT is what it was called, essentially your challenge number, I would take a guess the amount you roll over by is the damage. or is taken into account with the damage. So we have magic. I will point out, this does seem very unique. So there is that. It is not just the one ring mechanics, translated over to the Roman Empire if it survived into the 5th century. Seems like there is quite a bit of minutia involved. But I'm not sure, taking a look at that, if it's mechanically all that crunchy or not. So here's our pre-gens. So we've got a dozen of the pre-gens. So this is to give us an idea. So really, these are their stat blocks. So I'm taking a look here. So these are the attributes. So these would represent their dice number. So you have a 7. I'm not sure how you would be rolling that. All right. I'll tell you, the artwork is really, really well done. So Tessie Trekkie points out the target number is decided by the GM based on difficulty. Yes, that is what I would think. Looks like we've got a barbarian there. So this is the Game Master facing info. So talking about actions, difficulty level of actions. So once again, easy is 3, normal 6, challenging 9, hard 12, critical 15. Is that what that said? Yeah, critical. Extreme. I'll tell you, this does look like a very interesting read. And interestingly enough, even though just, at first glance, just because the mechanics are different, probably makes things seem a little more complex than they probably will turn out to be. I gotta say, I am intrigued. I am very intrigued. And, when we're looking through some of these RPG releases, it's kind of like, oh, yeah. Some of it's like, oh, yeah, I see where this is going. Oh, I see what inspired this. So are these, oh, okay. So these are NPCs. Courtesans, criminals, farmers and shepherds, politicians. Got gladiator types. Then we get into our bestiary here. Like these are real. They are not fantasy creatures there. Oh, there we go. Now we get the fantastical creatures. So monstrous animals, sacred animals. And we do get artwork, it looks like, for each of them. That's cool. Because I thought, as we were taking a look, and I saw it was just, the regular animals. And I didn't see any images. I was like, I'm hoping that when we get to the fantasy, we're going to see some images here. I would take a wild stab that we're probably seeing quite a few creatures from Greek mythology as well. Constructs. Ghosts. Yeah, right there. The undead. Okay. Now it looks like we're going to get into the history The background, yep, there we go. The world of Lex Arcana. There we go. Now we're getting the images of the weapons, as well as telling you what they are. So we've got the gladius, which is like the Roman sword you tend to see the legionnaires carrying. They're kind of short. They're almost like short swords. Organization. There we go. Example names. Locations, magic. And then we get into the adventures. And I will actually skip quite a few pages through here. I am going to take a stab that this is also one of a scene-based sort of role-playing game. Right there, scene 6, the apparition. This is the other adventure. There is quite a lot that's available for Lex Arcana. I believe this second edition came out in 2019. And there are 2 new books that are just coming out, which I've got. And I will kind of share what we're going to be taking a look at in the near future for Lex Arcana. So that's kind of interesting. So we had a bestiary with different fantastic creatures, and then the adventures introduced some more creatures. You'd have thought they were just in the bestiary, right? But here this is a new fantastical creature. Then we've got game tools. That's a nice looking character sheet. And then we've got our index, Kickstarter backers. Looks like some sort of cards. And that is the core rulebook for the second edition of Lex Arcana. So Tessie Trekkie points out there's also a new Kickstarter going on. So there we've got that. It was kind of funny because I actually did a little exploring on Acheron Games website, because if you were watching last week, I was talking about how I got this big package from them, and I was sharing what they sent along. And why is there like sawdust on here? Was it? Are the spiders like working on the wooden beams above me or something? Anyway, they've got a lot of cool stuff. And it's not just Lex Arcana and Broncolonia. I probably mispronounced that too. So the new books that came out, I believe, are Italia. That is a very cool looking cover. I like that artwork. And then we have Dacia and Thracia. So I think these are the 2 new books that might actually, believe it or not, these might actually be arriving in stores like this week. But I also have Mysteries of the Empire as well. So these are the books we're going to be taking a look at. As I had mentioned before, there are more releases for this line other than just these books. So there's quite a bit out there. So it's not as if we're looking at a role-playing game where you're sort of like, okay, so you got a core book, but nothing else. So tomorrow we're going to look at Brancolonia, which is the spaghetti fantasy role-playing setting. This is 4.5e. So we're going to take a peek at this tomorrow. I also have the Macaronicon, which we will look at in the future. So I did receive some other goodies, which I will show you as I swing over to the other camera. I will have a review of the Lex Arcana Core Rulebook in the very near future. Coco B points out those are very good-looking books. Yeah, they look very nice. I know Brancalonia, I think off the top of my head, that is the title of it. I know that won awards. I know it's won some Ennies, and I think so has Lex Arcana. But anyway, so as I had mentioned before, I got Shake That City, which we're going to look at on next Tuesday's show. This is coming to Kickstarter. So that arrived, and I got a bunch of the Wretched series. I got a trio of them. So I got to take a peek here. The Red Room, I was going to say, I'm trying to remember the creators of this. So we've got Wretched Bastards, which is fantasy. So this is traditional fantasy. I guess you play kind of rogue-ish characters, not that you're all rogues. Then Wretched Epoch, which we were talking about. This is sort of a turn of the 20th century, or no, I guess, it is turn of the 20th century France. And it's like horror and mystery and magic. And this sounds pretty interesting. And I had a news piece about it, Wretched Space. So I received this as well. So I think what we'll do is, because Wretched Space is the newest release, we will look at this next week. So on next Monday's show, I'll be taking a look at Delta Green Iconoclast for Halloween. Yes, I will be doing a Halloween stream. So Halloween, Delta Green, rhymes, and, it's horror. So we'll be diving on in, taking a first look at that. And of course, once again, on tomorrow's show, we're going to be taking a peek at Brancalonia, also from Acheron Games. All righty then. That is it for this time out. So just taking a peek at chat. So Kevin says that they love Delta Green, even though they've never had a chance to play it. I played Delta Green like in the 90s. I ran some, but that was back when it was tied into Call of Cthulhu. So William asks if trick-or-treaters will be ringing the bell at the Duct Tape Studio. Where I live, the trick-or-treating is supposed to end right at the same time I start the stream. So prior to that, what I'm going to probably end up doing is making sure I've got everything ready for the show early, take care of the trick-or-treaters, and it depends. Some years we get a bunch. Some years it's hardly anybody. So, and the weather really doesn't have anything to do with it for some strange reason. But that's what I plan on doing. So it's, 7 o'clock, stream starts. Kids aren't supposed to be out trick-or-treating after 7 o'clock in this suburb. So see what happens. Anyway, as I was going to say, I ran a bit of Delta Green back in the 90s. And that was back when it was tied into Call of Cthulhu. And I'm trying to remember the company's name that did a lot of really, really cool. They did the magazine they used to release, The Unspeakable Oath. They did a lot of really cool Call of Cthulhu books. Palladium? Oh, God, no. Why do people throw Palladium out there from time to time? It's like, what? It's like, I don't cover them. There are just so many reasons why I do not cover anything for Palladium. Anyway, yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the publisher. And they were pretty, well, for being a small publisher, they were pretty big as far as, you know, kind of competing with Chaosium at the day, you know, at the time and stuff. So I'll have to take a peek. Pelgrane, no, this company's gone. This company is long gone. So that's why Delta Green is with Arc Dream Publishing, because the original Delta Green was from this other company and they went under. And now Delta Green is its own thing. It's its own system. So Coco B says, what, new cup? You didn't notice? I busted this out last week. Just for the heck of it. Because it was like, yes. I was like, man, I always use the same Gen Con Hotbox pizza cup forever. And of course, when we get into the holiday season, I'll be drinking out of like Christmas mugs and stuff like that. So the Madman's wishing Christopher Rush a happy anniversary early. Well, I will also wish you that as well. And the Madman says they're going to send along a video of their Halloween display on Sunday. I'll include that on Monday's show as well. My brother actually did some, he always does a bunch of decorating, but he actually shot a halfway decent video. I'm going to ask him if he can forward it on. I'll show that as well. So Kevin R. Smith is pointing out that Delta Green is its own system. Yes, that's what I was kind of starting to get into, is Delta Green is its own D100 based system. It is not Call of Cthulhu. So there is that. And then Fall of Delta Green uses its own system too. And that is from Pelgrane Press. So there we go. All righty. So if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. I'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of the Shiver role-playing game, Core Rulebook. Yes. Hey, it's Halloween season. What can I tell you? I'm trying to get more horror titles in front of you. But of course, you know, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. If you were watching live, thank you very much. Always appreciate that. If you took part in chat, I also appreciate you not only keeping me company, but each other company. Half of the stuff that you guys get into, I miss because I'm so busy looking down, talking about whatever we're taking a peek at or I'm reviewing or what have you. But I also know a lot of people don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I certainly tip my cap to anybody taking time out of their busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. All right, once again, I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be taking a look at, I got a lot of stuff all scattered around here. That's why you see my arms kind of reaching out to grab things. Anyway, we are going to be taking a look at Brancolonia from Acheron Games. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you always get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.